welcome back to Daddy, Dad and me. Hope you're all doing well. We're now week 11 or 12 of lockdown, and we're obviously slowly starting to come out of it, and the world is starting to return to normal. Firstly, we have good news for those that have been following our footsteps in our journey for the last few years or so. We recently shared on social media that last week we had the wonderful news that we can now move forward with Little Man and intros can take place. Obviously, for many adopters around the UK and around the world, we have been delayed due to the coronavirus and a legal matter that's now been resolved. So good news is that we can now start moving forward with things and start looking forward to our future as a family. This week's video, what I wanted to do is a bit of a Q&A, many questions that we often get asked, and I thought it would be a good idea to put those together in a video to share with you. And I'd like to think it's a video that we wanted when we started our adoption journey to look for, because there are lots of questions that we started with, and obviously we now know the answers, but there are many people that are starting their journey or in the startings of their journey, and there are numerous questions, and we still get asked this lots of questions to this very day. So carry on watching. Please do subscribe, have a look at the blog, look at our Twitter, Instagram and Facebook pages at Daddy, Dad and Me for lots more information and content. And yes, please do click the notification bell and you'll be updated as and when we pop new videos onto our vlog. On with the video. So going back a few years now, we decided to first start our journey really into adoption as a result of talking about children for, I'd probably say, a good few years. We'd been together about 5 or 6 years into our relationship, had spoken about children, but never really kind of pursued those conversations as such. And we found and we felt that we were talking more and more about it, about becoming a family one day. And it just really started with the obligatory Google search, I think, as most people do, and as adopters do. And that's very much where we started our journey. There was no real pressure for us. We were, what was I on? I was about coming up for 31, 32, and it really was kind of the startings of just kind of exploring what the adoption process entailed, and to kind of really just explore that in further detail. We didn't really know much of it at that time, and just to explore what kind of avenues were open to us. We didn't know anybody that had been adopted or had gone through the adoption process, and it was only when we started taking those teeny steps into our adoption journey that we started to explore more so around the adoption journey for other people. That really educated us, and we knew then that we were on the right path for us. So yeah, no real pressure for us to go down the adoption route, but we kind of considered surrogacy, co-parenting, etc. And we really felt, especially with the amount of children that were within the care system, that adoption was the right journey for us. Two clear, distinct differences between adoption and fostering. So adoption is where the child goes to their forever family after usually being fostered by foster carers. So the adoption, you take over the legal responsibility for that child or children if they're siblings. And fostering is where a child is usually removed from the birth family or from the family as such and placed into care. So the local authority still has some form of legal responsibility over that child. They will have certain things they have to do, whether that be operations, whether that be certain procedures as such. So the local authority will assume care for that child for a certain period of time. Some children remain in foster care for various different reasons, and some will be looked, a longer term plan would be for them to be adopted. So many different reasons as to why children will be adopted and fostered for very different reasons. But there's two kind of clear, distinct paths. Adoption is more permanent, obviously, because they're going to their forever home, whereas fostering is a child is put into care with the carers for a period of time. It could be a week, could be some months, could be years, or it could be up until they're 16 or 18 years old. Not at all. We've had the appropriate training from our agency, and we've researched a lot, whether it be via books, blogs, vlogs, and just having all of that together really gives us the confidence that we're able to explain to Little Man in the future. And it will be at an age appropriate time as well. We don't want to give too much at perhaps a young age that may scare or worry him, and it's giving that information when it's relevant at the appropriate time. So as he grows older, we're able to share more of his story with him so he can understand in more detail as and when he gets older as to the reasons why he is adopted. And it's not something that concerns us at all. So we've had all the right training, and we feel fully supported by our agency, and they give us lifetime support with Little Man. So yeah, if we need to, we know we can reach out to have further support if we need that choice. Oh, good question. So I will be Daddy purely because I will be the person who will stay at home more, and that my preference was to be called Daddy, whereas James will actually be called Papa. And again, but that could all change when Little Man joins us. We've been told to fully expect that. Don't necessarily think that because I want to be called Daddy and James will be Papa, that will stay. Little Man will decide for himself, and I'm sure that there'll be many other names that we are called by him. So yeah, that's what we will stick with, but we'll just wait and see. You have to be very flexible with that, and again, very open mind. And it was, yeah, there were no arguments or anything when it came to that decision, but it was just something, a personal preference, I think. And again, that stuck with extended family as well, like nanny, granddad's granny, granddad. So that's why we stuck with that. So yeah, we shall see. Good question. So, a lot of TV dramas dramatise adoption in some ways, and whilst Modern Family does have the subject of adoption with Lily, it's I don't necessarily agree that it gives a very clear picture. And again, what you're looking at is US adoption, which is very different to UK. Firstly, there's cost implications with US adoption, whereas with the UK adoption process, there are very few fees, etc. I think the only one being medical and any travel expenditure. I don't think it gives enough insight into Lily's adoption as such. Obviously, it's a comedy, so it's going to be very light-hearted, and there'll be jokes made about it. And I don't think that gives a clear idea as to the adoption process. And again, it's referring very much to the US adoption process, and I don't know. I wouldn't say all about it. I know areas of it and how it differs to the UK, and I would say yeah, Modern Family is more so. It's a comedy, and I don't think that it's going to, I'd say, be taken seriously enough for it to kind of go into the what, whys, and wherefore of adoption. Obviously, having watched Modern Family, and we're up to series 7 at the moment. And yeah, there's lots of jokes made around it, but I don't think I would kind of take it with a pinch of salt, unfortunately. For us, we knew we wanted a little boy. We knew from discussions that we had with one another, we knew that a baby for us wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't say work, but it just wouldn't be suited to us. And if we could pick to adopt a particular gender and age, it would be around kind of 2 to 4 and be male. We've both been young boys, so we know what comes with that, and then growing up to be young and obviously older men. We know what to expect and what we may come across. So for us, that's a pretty easy decision for us to make when going into the adoption process. And again, it changed because the adoption process used to approve you as adopters for ages 0 to whatever, but you're just approved to adopt a child. You put a preference there, but it shouldn't matter the age of the child that you are intending you would adopt in the future. So yeah, pretty easy decision for us, for Little Man. Oh, tough question. Um, Unfortunately, there are quite a few, I'd say, misconceptions around adoption language. A lot of people refer to it differently. One of the examples that I have come across is referring to birth parents as real mum, real dad, when you've got the adoptive parent right there who is their real father or their real mother, and that can be one of the, I wouldn't say hurtful, but it's just being mindful of how you refer to the child and to the parent. Another one is referring um, to the child, and it's almost what I don't like is feeling that adoption is a taboo subject, and that's something I've come across. People almost feel they have to mouth like adoption. It's not a taboo subject. It's celebrated. Little man will know that he is adopted. It's celebrated for that very reason, is that they are with he is with us for a particular reason, and as I've just explained in a few questions earlier, we will tell him at an age appropriate time the reasons as to why, and he will be given information so he's aware of his life story to date. So yeah, there's lots and lots of kind of, I would say, negative language around adoption, and I could be here all day, but yeah, it's just being mindful that the adopter is their real parent for a particular reason, and it's just being mindful of that, and with the child as well, not referring to real mum, real dad, and that's probably the strongest one, I would say. I will be doing a vlog about adoption language just because it is a very important subject, and one where it's not necessarily telling people off, it's making people aware of certain things and not to refer or talk badly about birth parents as such. So watch this space, and I'll be doing a video very, very soon about adoption languages. So I won't go too much into that at the moment, but keep your eyes peeled. I think he will love it. Little man has already seen videos and lots of photos of Ralph, our dog, and we know that the foster carers are taking time in which to get him used to dogs, and dogs in particular, noises, sounds, running, etc. So nothing, when he does come to be with us, nothing will scare him. He's already seen photos. He knows what Ralph will be like. We've spoken about it enough with him, and it just makes that transition that much easier. So I don't think there are any concerns there. He seems to like cats and dogs where he is at the moment, so yeah, no real concerns, and I think there'll be lots of play dates happening with little man and Ralph as well, so yeah, good times. Oh, another good question. It's really as and when little man settles. That's going to take some time with us. That could be weeks, could be months. It's very much seeing how he settles with us and taking that lead. So we know some people, for instance, that have done it within a month or two. It may take 3 or 4 months. It's just about seeing how he settles with us, and just that time to bond with him, start building that attachment, and to attach to him, and vice versa. And then we'll start talking about the wider family, who they are, again getting him familiar with faces and names, and when we feel comfortable moving that to the next level, so to start to meet them, we will do that. We don't want to scare him with anything whatsoever, so we want to get him familiar with us talking about them first of all, and then we'll move that, because you have to remember, when they are taken out of the care situation, the foster care, a brand new world they are kind of put into. So for him, he's going to be very scared, and it's just getting him to settle at first, and then we can start building those blocks, because in essence you are starting from scratch with them, whilst we've already started to build those relationships and those connections to him. It's really important that we don't put too much too soon. So yeah, we're going to go at his pace, see how he goes, how he settles, how we attach, how we bond together, and when the time feels right, we will then start meeting the wider family and friends, and they can then start building those attachments to him as well. oh, in every way, shape, and form. It's ultimately led to a 3-month delay for us, and there are still the things that are ongoing. Very frustrating, but we know now, obviously, week 11, 12, whatever we are, we're now starting to come out of that. We're starting to see other adopters and children move on, so that is very encouraging for us, and we're hoping within the next month or so for things to move forward. But yeah, the coronavirus has affected lots and lots, whether that be foster carers, children, social workers. It affects the entire process. But as I said, the positive, now looking at the positive, is that we're now coming out of that. Things are starting to move forward. Obviously, we're going to be in a new kind of way of life, I suppose the best way is to say it. Obviously, we're going to socially distance. We've got to make sure we're safe, little man is safe, and everyone around him. So yeah, they're going to be it's finding new ways of doing things. So we hope within the next weeks and months that things happen. But obviously, we'll let you know as and when things do. I'd probably say out of everything, the matching process, because for us, say it was quite a long process to go through the approval. We had the 4-month break between stages 1 and 2, and approved as adopters. We look forward to what that process was going to look like, and obviously being approved as a doctor was amazing. And then it was very much going through the linking process and looking at lots of profiles on LinkMaker, speaking with the social worker, and then once we had found Little Man, going through that linking process. And I remember having that meeting Friday the 13th, unlucky for some, not for us, was the linking meeting that we had with Little Man's social worker and 3 or 4 other social workers as well. And we knew from then, that's it, he's the one. And going through that matching process, that took 3 months or so. So again, quite a long time. You kind of get used to it in the adoption process, just having to wait for certain things or certain processes and procedures to kick in. Lots of documents as well. And for us, being matched with him was a really good feeling, knowing that we'd gone through the entire process and that was it. We'd found our boy. So yeah, really looking forward to what's to happen next. All the memories we're going to make, and say I don't think you would be human if you didn't look forward to that and all the memories. So yeah, very much looking forward to what is going to happen next. And there's Ralph, for those who have just spotted him. Our advice to those starting their journey, hello Ralph, patience. It's going to be a process, and you'll become frustrated at times, you'll be emotional at others, or if not throughout the whole entire process. Take everything at your own pace. Like we did, take a break if you want to, there's no harm in that whatsoever. Do what you think's right, not everything you'll particularly agree with, and it's just, everything is go at your own pace. If something doesn't feel right, question it, there's nothing wrong with that. And I'd also say enjoy the process. I know that's a bit of a contradiction to what I've just said. Enjoy about what is yet to come. It'll all be worthwhile in the end. Some people have quite short journeys, some have longer routes to take. That's entirely normal. I would say try not to compare to other people's journeys. There are particular reasons why people have taken longer and some people have taken, say, shorter journeys. There are reasons for that, but don't compare, because it's so easy to, unfortunately, being human. And just enjoy the ride. You're going to look back on that time with such fondness, and you're never going to get that time back. If you go through it again, you'll obviously only go through part of the process, but just enjoy what's to come, as it is very tough, it is very emotional, but it's so worth it when you've So yeah, just enjoy it. And there we go. Always happy to answer any questions that anyone has. We get asked many by family, friends, online as well, and we're never shy in being open and honest with people. You have to welcome that feedback and those questions. So people will just be intrigued by the process. So yeah, we're really happy to answer any questions anyone has. DM us, email us, contact us via Twitter, Facebook or Instagram, where we can be found. And that's all for this week. So I hope to see you soon. Hope everyone is doing well, keeping safe, and yeah, it'll be, I think, week 13 next week of starting to come out of some form of lockdown, whatever shape or form we will find ourselves in. So yeah, take care, and we will speak to you soon. Bye.